So, Canto 8, Chapter 1. And although the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly watches the activities of the world, no one sees him. However, one should not think that because no one sees him, he does not see, for his power to see is not never diminished. Therefore, everyone should worship the super soul, who always stays with the individual soul as a friend. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Offering prayers to Krishna, Srimati Kunti Devi, the mother of the Pandavas, said, Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahir Avastitam. Krishna, you reside both inside and outside of everything. Yet, the unintelligent, conditioned souls cannot see you. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Janma Chaksusa, eyes of knowledge. He who opens his eyes of knowledge is called a spiritual master. Thus, we offer our prayers to the spiritual master with the following sloka. Om Ajna Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmeditam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. That's from the Gautamiya Tantra. The Guru's task is to open the disciple's eyes of knowledge. When the disciple is awakening from ignorance to knowledge, he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere, because the Lord actually is everywhere. Andantara sta paramanu chayantarastam. The Lord resides within this universe. He resides within the hearts of all living entities, and he resides even within the atom. But we lack perfect knowledge. We cannot see God, but a little deliberation can help us to see God everywhere. This requires training. With a little deliberation, even the most degraded person can perceive the presence of God. If we take into account whose property is the vast ocean, whose property is the vast land, how the sky exists, how the numberless millions of stars and planets are set in the sky, who has made this universe and whose property is it, we should certainly come to the conclusion that there is a proprietor of everything. When we claim proprietorship over a certain piece of land, whether individually or for our families or nations, we should also consider how we became the proprietors. The land was there before our birth, before we came to the land. How did it become our property? Such deliberation will help us understand that there is a supreme proprietor of everything, the supreme personality of Godhead. The supreme Godhead is always awake. In the conditioned stage, we forget things because we change our bodies, but because the supreme personality of Godhead does not change his body, he remembers past, present, and future. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.1, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavam aham avyayam. I spoke this science of God, the Bhagavad Gita, to the sun god at least 40 million years ago. Wow. When Arjuna inquired from Krishna how he could remember incidents that had taken place so long ago, the Lord answered that Arjuna was also present at that time, because Arjuna is Krishna's friend. Wherever Krishna goes, Arjuna goes. But the difference is that Krishna remembers everything, whereas the living entity, like Arjuna, being a minute particle of the Supreme Lord, forgets. Therefore, it is said, the Lord's vigilance is never diminished. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasicham Vidi Sanivisto, Matakshmitim Gyanam Apohanam Cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his Paramatma feature, is always present within the hearts of all living entities, and from him come memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. This is also indicated in this verse by the word Suparnam, which means friend. In the Svatasvatara Upanishad 4.5, it is therefore said, Tva Swaparnam Sayuja Sakaya Samanam Briksham Parishasva Jayate. Two birds are sitting on the same tree as friends. One bird is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other is simply observing. This observing bird is always present as a friend to the eating bird and giving him remembrance of things he wanted to do. Thus, if we take into account the Supreme Personality of Godhead in our daily affairs, we can see him or at least perceive his presence everywhere. The words Chakshur Yasya Na Risyati mean that although we cannot see him, this does not mean that he cannot see us, nor does he die when the cosmic manifestation is annihilated. The example is given in this connection that the sunshine is present when the sun is present, but when the sun is not present, or when we cannot see the sun, this does not mean that the sun is lost. The sun is there, but we cannot see it. Similarly, although we cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead in our present darkness, our lack of knowledge, he is always present, seeing our activities. As the Parampara, he is the witness and advisor. Upadrasta, Upadrasta, and Anumanta. Therefore, by following the instructions of the spiritual master and studying authorized literatures, one can understand God is present before us, seeing everything, although we have no eyes with which to see him. Text number 12. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning, no end, and no middle. Nor does he belong to a particular person or nation. He has no inside or outside. The dualities found within this material world, such as beginning and end, mine and theirs, are all absent from the personality of the Supreme Lord. The universe, which emanates from him, is another feature of the Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate truth, and he is complete in greatness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has no eternal blissful spiritual body. I'm sorry. He has an eternal spiritual, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. For the land's existence, there is no cause, for he is the cause of everything. He is in everything. Maya, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam. He is expanded in everything, but he is not everything. He is Achintya Veda Abeda, simultaneously one and different. That is explained in this verse. In the material condition, we have a conception of beginning, end, and middle. But for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are no such things. The universal cosmic manifestation is also the Virat Rupa that was shown to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, since the Lord is present everywhere and at all time, he is the absolute truth and the greatest. He is complete in greatness. God is great, and how he is great is explained here. Text 13. The entire cosmic manifestation is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, who has millions of names and unlimited potencies. He is self effulgent, unborn, and changeless. He is the beginning of everything, but he has no beginning because he has created this cosmic manifestation by his external energy. The universe appears to be created, maintained, and annihilated by him. Nonetheless, he remains inactive in his spiritual energy and is untouched by the activities of the material energy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Shikshastaka, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarvasakti. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has many names, which are all non-different from the Supreme Person. This is spiritual existence. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, consisting of names of the Supreme Lord, we find that the name has all the potencies of the person. The Lord's activities are many, and according to his activities, he has many names. He appeared as the son of Mother Yasoda, and also as the son of Mother Devaki, and therefore he is named Devaki Nandana and Yasoda Nandana. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shriyate. The Lord has a multitude of energies, and therefore he acts in multifarious ways. Yet he has a particular name. The Shastras recommend which names we should chant, such as Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It is not that we have to search for some name or manufacture one. Rather, we must follow the saintly persons and follow the Shastras in chanting this holy name. Although the material and spiritual energies both belong to the Lord, He is impossible to understand as long as we are in the material energy. And when when we come to the spiritual energy, He is very easy to know. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.23, Mayam Viyudasya Chich Chakya Kaivalye Stita Atmani. Although the external energy belongs to the Lord, when one is in the external energy, Mama Maya Duratyaya, he is very difficult to understand. However, when one comes to the spiritual energy, one cannot understand him. However, when one comes to the spiritual energy, one can understand him. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, it is said, Patyamam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tattvata. One who wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in reality, must take to the platform of bhakti or Krishna consciousness. This bhakti consists of various activities: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Satyam, Atmanivedanam. And to understand the Lord, one must take to the path of devotional service. Even though people of the world have forgotten God and may say that God is dead, this is not a fact. One can understand God when one takes to the Krishna consciousness movement, and thus one can be happy. Text number 14. Therefore, to enable people to reach the stage of activities that are tinged by fruitive results, great saints first engage people in fruitive activities. For unless one begins by performing activities as recommended in the Shastras, one cannot reach the stage of liberation or activities that produce no reactions. Purport in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Lord Krishna advises Yajnarta Dharmanonyatra Loko Yam Karma Bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Generally, everyone is attracted to hard labor for becoming happy in this material world. But although various activities are going on all over the world simply for the sake of happiness, unfortunately, only problems are being created from such fruitive activities. Therefore, it is advised that active persons engage in activities of Krishna consciousness, which are called yajna, because then they will gradually come to the platform of devotional service. Yajna means Lord Vishnu. The Yajna Purusha, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Oktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the enjoyer, and therefore, if we begin our activities for His satisfaction, we will gradually lose our taste for material activities. Sutta Goswami declared to the great assembly of sages at Naimisharanya, Atak Kumbir Dvijasesta Varnashrama Vibhagasa Dhanustita Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshan. O best among twice born, it is concluded that the highest perfection of one can that of one can achieve by discharging his prescribed duties or dharma according to caste, divisions, and order of life is to please the Lord Hari. Bhagavatam 1.2.13. According to Vedic principles, everyone must act according to his classification as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Everyone should progress toward perfection by acting in such a way that Krishna will be pleased. Samstadir Paritoshanam. One cannot please Krishna by sitting idly. One must act according to the directions of the spiritual master for the sake of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then one will gradually come to the stage of pure devotional service, as confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.12. Naiskarmyam api achyuta bhava varjitam na sobate jnanam alam niranjanam. Knowledge of self-realization, even though freed from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. Gyanis recommend that one adopt nice karma by not doing anything but simply meditating and thinking of Brahman. But this is impossible unless one realizes part of Brahman, Krishna. If there is no Krishna consciousness, any kind of activity, be it philanthropic, political, or social, simply causes karma bandhana, bondage to material work. As long as one is entangled in karma bandhana, one must accept different types of bodies that spoil the human form of of fact, different form of facility. Therefore,
Facilities.
a facility. Okay, facility. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 6.3, karma yoga is recommended. Arur Arur Ukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate Yoga Rud Asyatas Yaiva Sama Karanam Uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who has already attained to yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Nonetheless, Karmendriyani Samyamya Ya Aste Manasa Smaran Indriyartam Vimudatma Mitya Sharana Sauchite. One who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Bhagavad Gita 3.6. One should act for Krishna very seriously in order to become fully Krishna conscious and should not sit down to imitate such great personalities as Haridasa Thakura. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur condemned such imitation. He said, Dusta mana tumi kishara vaishnava pratistara tare nirjanira gare tava hari nama kevala kaitava. My dear mind, what kind of devotee are you? Simply for cheap adoration. You sit in a solitary place and pretend to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But all this is cheating. Recently at Mayapur, an African devotee wanted to imitate Haridas Thakur, but after 15 days he became restless and went away. Do not suddenly try to imitate Haridas Thakur. Engage yourself in Krishna conscious activities, and gradually you will come to the stage of liberation. Mukti Hitvanyata Rupam Swarupena Vyapastiti. Text 15. The Supreme Personality Godhead is full in opulence by his own gain, yet he acts as the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this material world. In spite of acting in that way, he is never entangled. Hence, devotees who follow in his footsteps are also never entangled. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajnatat Dharmano Yatra Loko Yam Karma Bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. If we do not act in Krishna consciousness, we shall be entangled like silkworms in cocoons. The spiritual full personality of Godhead Krishna appears in order to teach us how to work so that we will not be entangled in this material world. Our real problem is that we are entangled in materialistic activities, and because we are conditioned, our struggle continues through punishment and material existence in one body after another, in different forms of life, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita. Mama Vamso Shiva Loke Shiva Bhuta Sanatana Manaksasnanindriyani Prakriti Parsati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragment of parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entities are actually minute forms who are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is full in everything, and the small particles of the Lord are also originally qualified like him, but because of their minute existence, they are infected by material attraction and thus entangled. We must therefore follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then, like Krishna, who is never entangled by his material activities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, we will have nothing for which to lament. Nava Siddhidanti Ye Nutam. Krishna personally gives instructions in Bhagavad Gita, and anyone who follows his instructions is liberated. Following Krishna's instructions is possible when one is a devotee. For Krishna instructs that one should become a devotee. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. Always thinking of Krishna means chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. But unless one is an initiated devotee, he cannot do this. As soon as one becomes a devotee, he engages in deity worship, Madhyaji. A devotee business is to offer obeisances to the Lord and the spiritual master constantly. This principle is the recognized way to come to the platform of bhakti. As soon as one's own body is as soon as one comes to this platform, he gradually understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and simply by understanding Krishna, one is liberated from material bondage. Text 16. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, works just like an ordinary human being. Yet he does not desire to enjoy the fruits of work. He is full of knowledge, free from material desires and diversions, and completely independent. As the supreme teacher of human society, he teaches his own way of activities, and thus he inaugurates the real path of religion. I request everyone to follow him. Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is the sum and substance of our Krishna consciousness movement. We are simply requesting human society to follow in the footsteps of the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. Follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as it is, and your life will be successful. That is the summary of the Krishna consciousness movement. The organizer of the Krishna consciousness movement is teaching everyone how to follow Lord Ramachandra, how to follow Lord Krishna, and how to follow the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this material world, we need a leader for a monarchy or good government. Lord Sri Ramachandra, by his practical example, showed how to live for the benefit of all human society. He fought with demons like Ravana. He carried out the orders of his father, and he remained the faithful husband of Mother Sita. Thus, there is no comparison to Lord Ramachandra's acting as an ideal king. Indeed, people still hanker for Rama Raja, a government conducted like that of Lord Ramachandra. Similarly, although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he taught his disciple and devotee Arjuna how to lead a life ending in going back home, back to Godhead. Jakva deham punarjanma naiti vam eti so Arjuna. All teachings, political, economic, social, religious, cultural, and philosophical, are to be found in Bhagavad Gita. One only has to follow them strictly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead also comes as Lord Chaitanya just to play the part of a pure devotee. Thus, the Lord teaches us in different ways just to make our lives successful. And Swayambhuva Manu requests us to follow him. Swayambhuva Manu is the leader of mankind, and he has given a book called Manu Samhita to guide human society. Herein, he directs us to follow the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations. These incarnations are described in Vedic literature, and Jayadeva Goswami has described 10 important incarnations in summary. Kesava Jita Mina Sariro Jaya Jagada Ihasya Hare. Kesava Jita Nara Haribupajaya Jagat Isha Hare Keshava Trita Buddha Sarira Jaya Jagat Isha Hare, etc. Swayambhuva instructs us to follow the instructions of God's incarnations, especially Krishna's instructions of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Appreciating Bhakti Marga as instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thus depicted the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartam Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sarira Hatari Kripam Budhir Yastam Aham Prapadyate. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge. His devotional service and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. Chaitanya Charitam, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, 6.74. In this age of Kali, people cannot follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore the Lord himself takes the part of Sri Krishna Chaitanya to teach personally how to become Krishna conscious. He asks everyone to follow him and to become a guru to deliver the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Yare Deka Tarekaha Krishna Upadesha Amara Ajnaya Guru Hanatara Ei Desa. Instructs everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 7.128. The coherent purpose of Lord Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to teach human society how to be happy by following the instructions of the Supreme Lord. Text 17. Sukadeva Goswami continued. Swayambhuva Manu was thus in a trance, chanting the mantras of Vedic instruction known as the Upanishads. Upon seeing him, the Rakshasas and Asuras, being very hungry, wanted to devour him. Therefore, they ran after him with great speed. You have man-eating Rakshasas. Text 18. Tam statai vasitam vishya yajna sarva dato hari yamai hari rito devar hatvasasat tri vistapam. The Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is still in everyone's heart, appearing as the Yajnapati, observed that the Rakshasas and demons were going to devour Swayambhuva Manu. Oh boy, terrible. Thus the Lord, accompanied by his sons, named the Yama, and by all the other demigods, killed the demons and Rakshasas. He then took the post of Indra and began to rule the heavenly kingdom. Oh, that's good. That means there's someone who can protect people. Purport: the various names of the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and so on, are not personal names. They are names of different posts. In this regard, we understand that Lord Vishnu sometimes becomes Brahma or Indra when there is no suitable person to occupy these posts. Okay, that's good information. Text 19. Swarochiso Ritiastu Manu Agne Suto Bhavat Dumat Susena Rochismat Pramukastasya Chatmaja. The son of Agni, named Swarochisa, became the second Manu. His several sons were headed by Dumat, Surena, and Rochismat. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Manvantaram Manurdeva Manuputra Surev Swara Vishayo Masa Vatarascha Hari Sad Vidam Uchete. There are many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manu, the Manu Putra, the sons of Manu, the king of heavenly planets, and the seven great sages are all partial incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Manu himself, his sons Priyavata and Uttanapada, the demigods created by Daksha, and the rishis like Marichi were all partial incarnations of the Lord during the reign of Swayambhuva Manu. During that time, um, during that time, the incarnation of the Lord as Yajna took charge of ruling the heavenly planets. The next Manu was Swarochisa. The Manus and the sages and demigods are further described in the following 11 verses. During the reign of Swarochisa, the post of Indra was assumed by Roshan, the son of Yajna. Tusita and others became the principal demigods, and Urja, Stamba, and others became the seven saints. All of them were faithful devotees of the Lord. Text 21. Recess to Vidar Sirsa Rasa Tusita Nama Patni Abut Tasyam Jajne Tato Devo Vibur Iti Abi Vishruta. Vedasira was very celebrated rishi from the womb of his wife, whose name was Tusita, came the avatar named Vibhu. Text 22. Vibhu remained a brahmachari and never married throughout his life. From him, 88,000 other saintly persons took lessons on self-control, austerity, and similar behavior. Wow, look at that, that's amazing. Text 23. O king, the third Manu, Uttama, was the son of King Priyavrata. Among the sons of Manu were Pavana, Srinjaya, and Yajna Kotra. Text 24. Vasista Tanaya Sapta Rishaya Pramad Adaya Satya Veda Shrita Bhadra Deva Indras Satyachit. During the reign of the third Manu, Pramada and other sons of Vasista became the seven sages. The Satyas, Veda Sutras, and the Brahma and the Brahma and the Brahmas became demigods, and Satyajit was selected to be Indra, the king of heaven. Text 25. Dharmasha son Ritayan to Bhagavan Purushottama Satyasena iti Kailato Jata Satya Ratai Saha. In this Manvantara, the Supreme Personality of God appeared from the womb of Sunitra, Sunrita, who was the wife of Dharma and the demigod in charge of religion. The Lord was celebrated as the son Satyasena, and he appeared with other demigods known as the Satyavratas. Text 26, text 26. Sa Nritya Rata Du Shilan Asato Yaksha Rakshasan Uta Druho Uta Nanam Javadi Satyajit Sakha. Satyasena, along with his friend Satyajit, who was the king of heaven, Indra, killed all the untruthful, pious, misbehaved yakshas, rakshasas, and ghostly living entities who gave pain to other living beings. Text 27. Chaturtha Uttama Prata Manu Namna Chitamasa Pritu Kayatir Nara Ketur Iti in Adya Dasa Sutta, the brother of the third Manu, Uttama, was celebrated by the name Tamasa, and he became the fourth Manu. Tamasa had 10 sons, headed by Pritu, Gayati, Nara, and Naraketu. Text 28. During the reign of Tamasa Manu, among the demigods were the Satyakas, Harish, and Viras. The heavenly king, Indra, was Trisika. The sages in Saptarsi Dharma were headed by Hippotodrama. And let me read that again. The heavenly king Indra was Trisika. The sages in Saptarsi Dharma were headed by Jyotirdharma. Text 29. Deva Vaidiri Tayo Nama Vidhis Tanaya Ripa Nasta Kalina Yar Veda Vidhita Srina Tejasa. O king, in the Tamasa Manvantara, the sons of Ridhirti, who were known as the Vidhistris, also became demigods. Since in course of time the Vedic authority was lost, these demigods by their own powers protected the Vedic authority. That's good. Purport. In the Tamasa Manvantara, there were two kinds of demigods. One of them, was known as the Vaidiristis. The duty of the demigods is to protect the authority of the Vedas. The word Devata refers to
one who carries the authority of the Vedas, whereas Rakshasas are those who defy the Vedic authority if the authority of the Vedas is law. The under the entire and I'm sorry, the entire universe becomes chaotic. Chaotic. Okay. Therefore, it is the duty of the demigods as well as kings and aides of the government to give full protection to the Vedic authority. Otherwise, human society will be chaotic condition in which there cannot be peace or prosperity. Text 30. Tatrapi Jajne Bhagavan Harin Yam Hari Med Hasa Harir Iti Arito Yena Gajendro Mochito Grahit. Also, in this Manvantara, the Supreme Lord Vishnu took birth from the womb of Harini, the wife of Hari Meda, and he was known as Hari. Hari saved his devotee Gajendra, the king of the elephants, from the mouth of a crocodile. Text 31. Shri Rajavacha Vadarayana Etate Sutram Ichcham Mahe Vayam Harir Yata Gajapati Graha Rastam Amu Mucha Amu Mucha. King Parikshit said, my lord, Vadarayana, Vairadhani, Vaidarayani, we wish to hear from you in detail how the king of the elephants, when attacked by a crocodile, was delivered by Hari. Text 32. Any literature or narration in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttama Sloka, is described and glorified is certainly great, pure, glorious, auspicious, and all good. Purport. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world simply by describing Krishna. We have published many books, including Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in 17 volumes, 400 pages each, as well as Bhagavad Gita and the Nectar of Devotion. We are also publishing Srimad Bhagavatam in 60 volumes. Wherever a speaker holds discourses from the books and an audience hears him, this will create a good and auspicious situation. Therefore, the preaching of Krishna consciousness must be done very carefully by the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, especially the sannyasis. This will create an auspicious atmosphere. Text 33. Shri Sutta Uvacha Pariksitai Vam Satu Vadarayani Prayo Pavistena Tatasu Chodita Uvacha Vipra Pratin Nandya Partivam Muda Muninam Sadasi Sma Srinvatam. Shri Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, when Parikshit Maharaj, who was awaiting impending death, thus requested Sukadeva Goswami to speak, Sukadeva Goswami, encouraged by the king's words, offered respect to the king and spoke with great pleasure to the assembly of the sages who desired to hear him. Purport. No. Thus ends
the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Manus, Administrators of the Universe. Harivilas. Okay, now we begin chapter 2. So, how much time do we have now?
We are at time, Maharaj.
We're at time. Okay, so we'll just stop there and start fresh tomorrow morning.
Harivilas.
Harivilas. All good.
To Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hi. Does anyone have a question or a comment?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, what is today's takeaway?
The takeaway for today is the following. Sri Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, when Parikshit Maharaja, who was awaiting impending death, thus requested Sukadeva Goswami to speak, Sukadeva Goswami, encouraged by the king's words, offered respect to the king and spoke with great pleasure in the assembly of sages who desired to hear him. Okay, so you see how there is respect between different personalities who are following the principles of Krishna consciousness. So there's Sutta Goswami, and there's Parikshit Maharaj, and there's Sukadeva Goswami, and also, so in other words, Sri Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, when Parikshit Maharaj, who was awaiting impending death, thus requested Sukadeva Goswami to speak. Sukadeva Goswami, encouraged by the king's words, offered respect to the king and spoke with great pleasure in the assembly of sages who desired to hear him. So you see, there's respect, there's the impetus to hear bona fide devotees speak about the Lord, and so forth. That's the real Vaishnava culture. There's nothing gross or morbid about the Vaishnava culture. Everything is encouraging for people to make spiritual advancement. And there's respect to the king, and it gives great pleasure in the assembly of sages who are very anxious to hear the king or the personality like Sri Sutta Goswami speak. Okay. Any other questions or comments? We will stop right there and pick up the Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 2, the elephant Gajendra's crisis. Wow, I can't wait to hear that.
Oh, Gajendra Moksha.
Yeah.
Harivilas.
That's going to be really nice tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much, my dear devotees.
Right. Yeah, it's about 7:40.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Please chant Hare Krishna. And you can also read again what we covered today, and take a little peep. Take a little, let's say, take a little bit of knowledge for tomorrow's lecture also.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much, and please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. All glories to
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda,
Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaur
Gaura
Bhakta.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,